everyone. Welcome to our seminar series. I am Dwaynia. If you're new, hi, welcome. If you're one of the oldies but goodies, welcome back. But thank you for joining us on our monthly webinar series. And today we are going to be talking about the money formula. That's something I feel all of us need to really hammer in on. Before we jump in, I want to remind you all that we have an amazing event coming up on May 7th. It's our first in person conference since 2019. If you do not have your tickets, it's in Mississauga. I'll send you a link. Make sure you get your tickets because you want to be there. There are going to be some amazing speakers, and I'm going to be there. I want to see you face to face, so make sure you're there. I know you're not here to see me, so I'm not going to ramble anymore. I am going to bring our speaker on stage, and you're going to have a wonderful hour. Don't stress too much about trying to record everything because you will have access to the replay. So soak it up. You can jot down some notes, but you will have access to the replay. So I'm going to welcome Hina Khan. Hi,
Thank
Hina.
you. Hi, Dwaynia. Thank you so much for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to speak to your community. What a treat this is.
Thank you for coming. I am going to move myself off stage because they're all here for
Okay.
you. They're not here for me. And yeah, have fun.
Thank you. It is such a privilege for me to be here with you. Thank you for taking time out of your evening to be here. And I would love to know where you're listening in from. Please let me know in the comments. And I would also love to know what your business is. What type of business are you in? I am a former psychotherapist and now I'm a peak performance coach, and I work a lot with mindset, as you can imagine, with a background in psychotherapy. And I've really realized that things are our results are 95% mindset and 5% strategy. Okay, we've got some people from Mississauga, Dwaynia and Gabby. Amazing. I love it. We're going to be doing an event there as well. Where are you from and what is your business? I would love to know. I think it's always so interesting to you know, how we end up in business for ourselves. So today's talk is called How to Create a Life and Business You Love. And I just want to share with you this quote that I heard. I don't know the person who said it, so unfortunately I can't give the credit, but it's not mine. But listen to this and tell me what you think. If you think the price of winning is too high, wait until you get the bill from regret. And that bill from regret is generational. That stopped me in my tracks. Let that sink in. If you think the price of winning is too high, wait until you get the bill from regret. And that bill from regret is generational. And that's why I love the work that we do, because it's all about creating a life that you love, that is something that will not only be about you, but generations to come. It's about legacy. So, my question to you first is, when you think of creating a life that you love, what are some things that come to mind? When you think of creating a life that you love, is it things like travel? Oh, is that who said it? Oh, thank you, Gabby. Is it things like travel? Is it things like a certain house that you would love to live in? Is it what your calendar would look like? What are things that come to mind when you think about having a life that you love? Is it a certain amount of revenue that you would be making? So, freedom. Oh, I love that word, freedom. And I and it's such an important word because we all want to feel that way, and it's so different for everybody what that means, even what number is attached to freedom. So when you think of creating a life you love, what does that life look like? What are some elements of it? What else comes to mind? Freedom. And we really want to understand this because sometimes we think we want something, but we don't even know, we're not even clear about it. So this gives us the opportunity to get some clarity. And when you think about what you want, do you believe that you can have it? Do you really believe that you can have freedom, whatever freedom means to you? Do you believe that you can have the life that you want? And that's just a yes or no. Do you believe that you can have it? Yes or no? Gabby says yes, yes. Great. So you believe you can have it. You know what you want. And so this is for the whole group. For those of you that wrote something down and wrote yes, then why don't you? Why don't you? What's missing? Would you like to have it? Are you ready to have it? Because if you are, then just buckle up because that's what I do. I am the go to peak performance mindset coach for CEOs, entrepreneurs, and executives. And I help you create a life that you love through ease, fun, and joy. I am not here for the hustle, the grind, or the struggle. And as you can probably already tell, I love to have things be interactive because at the end of the day, this is for you. You, the listener, are the most important person on this call. It's not me. It's not Dwaynia who organized it. It's you, the listener. So I want to make sure that you are getting exactly what you need to get out of this. So let's make this interactive. Let's have some fun, and you can ask questions as we go. So, one of the first things I ask my clients is, what do you want? What do you really want? And then you may think, Hannah, that is a really easy question. I would like this, and this, and this. And what I find is many people will tell me what they want within limitations. So they're not actually thinking about what they want, they're thinking about what they can do at this age in their life, at this stage in their life, in where they live, in their education. That's how they're thinking about it. Does that make sense when you think about like what do you want? And you're thinking about, well, what could I really do? What is realistic? And I want to invite you to think about what do you want in a totally different way. The way I want you to think about it is start with if anything is possible, what do I want? Write that down, put it in the chat. If anything is possible, what do you want? What has come up for you? Ah, Gabby wants a new house. Okay, beautiful. I love that. Many people have that dream. It's a great dream where you want to live. What else has come up for you? What do you want? If anything is possible, what do you want? When I first did this exercise, I really struggled with it because I had never let myself dream because I didn't want to be disappointed. Yeah, Dwayne, it was a hard question for me too. One of my clients who is now in my inner circle mastermind, and I can tell you that that is a pretty, it's one of the higher investments to be in. When we first did this exercise, so when she first started working with me years ago, and I said, well, what do you want that money can buy? Just make a list of 50 things that you want that money can buy. One of the things on her list was Old Navy tights. And I thought, okay, that's good. That's good. I don't know from an Old Navy tight. Like maybe that's really something good, but maybe we could also dream a little bigger. Maybe we can, if anything is possible. So, yeah, you can get the Old Navy tights, but anything else? Is there anything else that you want? It's just amazing how we will limit ourselves. We will shrink to what we think we can get. Can I say that again? We will actually shrink ourselves, shrink our dreams to what we think we can get. And it's not what we really want. Sometimes we don't know what we want because we've never asked ourselves what we want. We've been doing what we think others want us to do. Well, this is what you should be doing, or this is what will get approval for you. So that's what we want, but it's not what we really want. So it's a big question. So, Dwayne, absolutely, it's a hard question. It's a hard question. What else is coming up for you? What do you want, if anything is possible? And also, what happens sometimes is we judge ourselves. So, you might be thinking, I'd like a new car, or I would love to take these, you know, luxury trips. I would like to be able to go to, the CEO of a certain company or a business, and we judge ourselves. Yeah, but who are you to want that? Don't be greedy. You're okay with what you have. So we don't allow ourselves to explore. I love this. So Judine, and I apologize if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly, says to be an educator, public speaker for wedding professionals. That's amazing. I love that. Oh, and I love that it's on the screen. Thank you. I love that. That's what you want. Now, here's what I want you to know, and thank you for putting that in the chat. You could not have the conscious awareness of that if it was not possible for you to have. Do you understand that? You could not have the awareness and the desire to want that, Judine, if you did not have if it was not available to you. You wouldn't be aware of it if it was not available to you. So right in this moment, just know that that is here. It is done. And we can even add to it, like, you are a sought after educator, public speaker for wedding professionals. You are the go-to person, the go-to educator in that space. You demand a certain fee for you to speak. You are in high demand. That is already here. That already exists. And now some of you may be saying, well, okay, so I know what I want. I want to be an educator, public speaker for wedding professionals. I know that. Now, what is the next question that usually comes after you deciding what you want? What is the next question, the next kind of logical question that one might ask? I want this. So the next question is, how? How do I get it? How many of us decide what we want and then go to how? How do I do it? Right? That's what we do. It's a natural thing to do. And if that's something that comes to your mind, the how, you can even just put yes in the comments. I want to do this. How do I do this? What do I need to know? Who do I need to know? What am I going to do? What is the next step? How do I do this? Here's the thing about how. How do I go about it? Exactly. How? How is a dream killer? How is a dream killer? There's another question that I want you to ask yourself, and it's not how, but it has the exact same letters in it as the word how. Can you guess what it is? What is another word that you can make up with HOW if you scramble it? Who? Yes. Okay, we're having fun. Who? Who do I need to be? So, Judine, the question is not how will I do it? How will I demand those fees? How will I become a public speaker? How will I become the go to person? It's who do I need to be to demand those fees, to be the public speaker, to be the educator in this space. Don't ask how, ask who. The how is none of your business. Can I say that again? The how is none of your business. The how is what stops most people. You wouldn't know how. You should actually not know how. If you know how to get what you want, you're not dreaming big enough. You're not. Because here's the thing. A goal is to grow. If you know the exact steps that you need to take to attain that goal, there's really not much growth there. But when you don't know how, then you know that you're onto something. Then you know this is a good, juicy goal. Do you know why? Because it's going to require you to grow. I know. Janine, sometimes my clients, bless their hearts, because they'll say, "Can you repeat that? Or can you just be clearer?" And I just get louder. And they're like, louder is not clearer. So if you are creating a goal where you know exactly what to do, how to do it, honestly, that is not a goal that is worthy of you. You want a goal that's going to require you to dig and stretch. You want a goal that you actually don't know how to do. You want a goal that is going to light a fire under you. You want a goal, can I say this? You want a goal that will require you to be a different person when you reach the goal. Yeah. You can't be the same person that has the goal, otherwise, you would have the goal. So now the way that we do this is we tap into our higher faculties. We have a number of higher faculties, but the one that I want to focus on is imagination. So you use your imagination to imagine, who would I need to be? What would the thoughts of the person that has the goal be? What would Judine, as the go-to expert, the go-to educator, the go-to public speaker in the wedding planning industry, what would her inner talk be? What would her thoughts be? What would her feelings be? And does that inner talk match your inner talk? Would they have doubts? Would they be like, "Oh, I really shouldn't go for that"? Would they be putting their hat in the rings for all sorts of opportunities? How would they be showing up in a space, in a room? What type of events would they be attending? What kind of conversations would they be a part of? You see, we talked about like this, like the money formula. You cannot outperform your self image. You have a thermostat of all the good that you will accept. I know that sounds nutty. I know that sounds nutty. And people think, oh, I will accept all the good all the time. No, no. In fact, sometimes when things get good is when you start to sabotage it. Come on, we live in a society where you can't have it all. The other shoe is going to drop. It's too good to be true, right? This is the world that we live in. This is the society that we live in that's always telling us, "Oh, you know what? It's like the bottom's going to drop. You can't, oh, don't count your chickens before they hatch or your eggs or don't count something before they hatch." And so we live in this world where it's always told to us that things could fall apart at any minute and be ready for it. And then we hang around people, and I'm just going to be honest with you. I know it's nobody here. I know it's nobody here, but some of you are hanging out with people that are keeping you broke, that are keeping you thinking too small, that are keeping you really limited. And you may say, how is that, Hannah? It's because these people complain and they're blaming everybody and everything. It's the economy. It's this, it's that. And you're in those conversations. Those are low level conversations. Low level conversations. You're with people that are saying, "Oh, you don't want to do that. That's risky." And here's what I've come to know. People that have buried their dreams are really ready to hand you a shovel to help you bury yours. And I won't have it. I'm like, "Give me some silence." I would rather be alone in my own thoughts than be around people that are complaining and criticizing and all doom and gloom. Let me be alone. Give me peace of mind. There's enough of that. And not only is it people in conversations, this could be Facebook groups you're a part of, other groups you're a part of where this is what's happening. Mind your thoughts. You've got to have a red velvet rope. You know how look, it's been a long time, but when you would go to the bars or something like that and like VIPs, it was like the red velvet rope. Well, you've got to have a red velvet rope for what content you're taking in, who gets through and into the club of your mind there, right? Because this is making up what you also think is possible. You want to go where the conversations like this are happening, which you all are. You're all here, and I want to commend you for being here, for taking time out of your evening to be here because you want to be in the place where it is normal to talk about things like money. It is normal to talk about wealth and generational wealth. It is normal to say, hey, I actually want to create a life and business I love, and it gets to get better and better and better. There is no there is no other shoe that has to drop. There's just more shoes. I just have all the shoes and I get to have that and I'm worthy of it and I love it and I desire it. And I am going to figure out who I need to be to have that. And I know that the more that I have, the more others have. The more that I have, the more that I have to give. And money is a tool, and money amplifies who I am. So if I'm a kind person, I'm a rich kind person. If I'm a jerk, I'm a rich jerk. And so this is what we want to understand. And we want to get to where these conversations are normal so we don't feel bad for wanting more. So that we can admit that we want things, that we're here having a human experience to enjoy things. So I think the first thing you want to do is admit that you want to have a life and business that you love. Admit it. Ah, Judine says, that's what I fear. I have a fear of success. Yes, absolutely. But I want you to ask yourself this. Does the person with your goal, the go to expert, educator, public speaker, does that version of you that exists right now have a fear of success? Yes or no? And Duania says, how do you balance or block out the law of vibration and negative energy goal quitters? How do you balance or block out? Oh, yes. So how do you like low vibration? Sorry, the glasses. How do you block out low vibration? Oh, Duania. I will literally like if people start to complain around me, I don't engage in it. I will leave if I can. I will change the subject. Um or I'll just be silent and then they just move on. But usually I'll change the subject. Um I'm not available for it. I'm literally not available for it. So it really does not I what I okay, let me just say this. When I first started in this work, for sure, because I was still kind of in that world and I wasn't quite in the new world yet. But what I did was I became very clear about what my goals are and I became selective. And there's one other thing that I did as well that really made a difference. And that was having a morning routine. And you may wonder, Dwania, what the hell does a morning routine have to do with being around people that are negative? Well, I made a decision to start my days in a peak state. And what that means is I write down my goals in the morning. So, Judine, if I were you, I'd be writing, I'm so happy and grateful now that I am the go to expert educator, public speaker for wedding planners. I'm sought after. I travel the world. I'm on stages all over the world. I command a worthy fee of my time. I value the work that I do. So, I would write that. And then I would do some study. And when I talk about study, it's taking a paragraph of a book and living the material, applying it to my goal. And then what I do is I will do some visualization. So what I do is I'm starting my day, Dwania, not in my phone looking at, oh, someone needs this from me, someone needs that. Oh my God, look at that social media, blah, 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 blah. I start with controlling my mornings. When I control my mornings, I control my days. Now, anything that's not a match to that, I don't have time for. I literally do not have time for it. So what you'll know, Dwania, with me is many people, very few people will complain around me. Like I just don't attract that. So can I give you an example, Dwania? Maybe this will help because sometimes you're in a situation. So it was August 2020. I was actually going to see my coach in Arizona, and it's just when travel started opening up. I'm at Pearson. How many of you know Pearson Airport? Okay. This is at the time when they just started opening up. So it's like there's lineups for security, lineups for everything. Like, it was very chaotic. The airports weren't ready for this. People are freaking out. You can feel the tension because people are worried that they're going to miss their flights because the delay in customs going to the US, oh my gosh, it was so long. They didn't have enough staff. So here's what I did, Dwayne. Here's an example of what I do to keep control over me because that's all I got. That's all I can do. I did not, so all around me, I can start to hear some chattering of people like, oh my God, this lineup, this is so long. What are the. I just am saying to myself, I'm saying my goal, or I'm just saying everything is always working out for me. Everything is for my growth. I can't get it wrong. Divine timing is perfect. I'm also not looking at my phone because if I look at my phone, I will see the time and I will see that time is ticking and like my plane is boarding and I'm not in it. There was a gentleman that I met that was going on the same plane as me, and he said, "I don't know. I don't think we're going to make it." And I said, "I see us both having a drink on the plane, because that's what I chose. That all I can do is choose my thoughts at the time." And so then I do that. Now, the other thing was I had this moment where it's like, I got to take a picture of this lion for Paul, my husband, and send it to him. And then I said, no, why would I do that? Because I don't need to do that. I don't need to now take this, talk to him about it, like, oh my God, the lineup is so long. So now I'm perpetuating it. So I just went back to everything is always working out for me. Divine timing is always perfect. I'm exactly where I need to be. That was it. That was it. I made the flight. The flight was fine. They had to hold it because half of the flight was in that lineup with me, and it was perfectly fine. Now, those hours that I was in that lineup, I could have been stressed, angry, commiserating with other people and talking smack about everything, but I didn't. So, Dwania, I'm very aware of my state. And that is self mastery. And that is part of creating a life and business that you love. It is not being in a reactionary state. So, can I go back to Judine for a minute? Judine, you said no, that person would not be afraid of success, the person with your goal. So now you know that that inner talk of being afraid of success is not a match to your goal. So something's got to go. Either you're going to drop that inner talk that's not serving you, or you're going to drop the goal. You choose. Cindy says, I have that fear too, Judine, but I think I'm still stuck on the what I want. Oh, Cindy, here's what I want you to do, Cindy, that can help you. Even just take a pen and a fresh sheet of paper. Now, you're going to hear me say fresh sheet of paper. The reason I like that, it's kind of like this new day, a new dawn, the fresh sheet of paper. And you write out 50 things that you want that money can buy. That money can buy. And you'll see your judgments come up like, well, you don't really need that. Is that really necessary? Don't be greedy, blah, 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 blah. But it's just to get the ball rolling, to get you thinking. So try that. Alithi, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Please forgive me. I ask for forgiveness for anybody whose name I'm not pronouncing correctly. Asks how to manifest that business and life I want. Beautiful. Okay. What I want you to understand is, first of all, do you know that life and business that you want? Are you clear about it? If you're not, your first job is to get clear. Once you're clear about it, the next step is to ask yourself, who would I need to be to have this? And this is where we identified with Judine that there was a thought that is not in harmony with her goal. So she has to drop that thought, which she is agreeing to do. Now, is this going to happen overnight? No. There's two ways to do this. One is an emotional impact, which is kind of usually negative, or it is it's the repetition. Repetition. So you've got to first decide what it is that you want, and then who do you need to be. And then what you also want to do is drop any judgments that you have. Do you believe, because you cannot outperform your self image, do you believe that you are worthy of having what it is that you desire? Do you believe that you can manage that amount of success depending what it is that you want? Do you have some beliefs? Like I used to have some beliefs that for me to have the business that I wanted, I would have to sacrifice my family. Like something had to give, right? Like these are the things that we hear. Something has to give, or that if I wanted to have a big business, I wasn't being a good mom. Um, so I had all of these BS. It's BS, totally. Beliefs systems that I had that I had to let go of. And sometimes we're fighting for our limitations. And one of the things that I had to decide in order to manifest that business and life that I love, which I have right now, I have an incredible life. I mix with the best people. I have an amazing team, incredible clients, a beautiful family. I travel extensively. Um, and every single day money is coming. I'm just this magnet because I provide amazing value and service, and my clients love to pay me. Everybody transforms in my energy. I'm really, really good at what I do. I am one of the best at what I do. Whether I'm working one on one with somebody or in a group, I'm very effective. And I know this to be true. There was a time when I did not know this to be true, and I would have been like, how do you even say that? I wouldn't have even known how to say that. I created this person and I became her. And if I can do it, you can do it. You can absolutely do it because I do not have something that you do not have. Because I used our higher faculties to do that, which I have and you have. I used my imagination. And this is what I understood was that I had to admit what I wanted and I had to make my well-being my top priority. And I also had to change who I hung out with. I had to go where these conversations were happening. And that's exactly what I did. And I had to get mentored and coached. I couldn't do it on my own. See, how am I going to take myself further than I've been? I don't know what that looks like. I had to see what does that look like. So I had to invest when it was scary to invest. But these are all the things. So the thing is when people say how to manifest that business and life that you want, you're going to have to do something different to be somebody different, to have something different. We don't want to get out of our comfort zone, but we want it. We want the gravy without the grief. And I said to you, I said, I create a life that I love without it being hard, grind, and struggle. But if I would say that there was a hard piece, it was the discipline of thought and keeping my thoughts on what I want and off of what I don't want. You've got to hold yourself to a standard. You know, we live in a world of almost. Oh, I've almost finished that. I'm almost going to do that. Almost. Lists and lists of, things that are not completed. We don't keep our word to ourselves. We don't keep our word to others. Can I say that again, what I said when we started? If you think the price of winning is too high, like we want it all, but we don't want to pay the price. We don't want to pay the price. We don't want to have to do the repetition, get up in the morning, do the things. And it's not about adding hours to your day. It's about holding yourself to a standard. Because if you can't even manage what you have now, how the heck are you going to manage the 7, 8 figure business that you want? If you can't keep your word to the contractors that you use, the vendors that you use, how are you going to keep your word to a team of 20, to a team of 50? How are you going to keep your word to your clients if you can't keep your word to yourself? If you think the price of winning is too high, wait until you get the bill from regret, and that bill from regret is generational. Look, I tell you, I can it's like nails on a chalkboard when I hear people argue for their limitations and they want me to argue with them and tell them how right they are. Yeah, the world did you wrong, this and that. You can't get a break. Okay. And now what? Who do you need to be? You focus on who you need to be, and then everything else will happen because it's the law of cause and effect. Some of you tell me, "Oh, I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time." And then I'll hear about I was binging 4 hours of Netflix. Don't tell me you don't have time. It's not a priority. So if you want a life and a business you love, declare it and declare it here. I don't know how many people are watching this live right now. I know there's a replay, but put it in the chat. Say that you're going to do it. Okay, so here's the thing. So how do you keep yourself to a standard when health comes in the way? When it comes to your physical health, I say let the doctors take care of your body, but you take care of your mind. Gabby, my COO, if you saw her right now, she's in her bed, crutches beside her because she she has an injury right now and has to be in bed for a few weeks, a good few weeks. You wouldn't know it. She's still deciding how she's going to think about it. She's still deciding what she's going to do. Now, I'm not saying that you ignore anything. You let the doctors take care of the body. If there's medication, if there's things that you have to do. But I'm going to tell you something, Elise. Can I tell you something? Look, look, can I be honest? One of my clients had said to me, she said, I'm scared to have success because I'm scared that my health will suffer if I'm successful. And I said, well, that's exactly what's going to happen. You're expecting that. You're expecting your health to suffer. Do you believe that you can be successful and not have your health suffer and be in perfect health? She had to think about it. And I said, do you believe that I believe that for you? And she said, okay, I can believe that you believe it for me. So we created this belief in her. And she also believed that she would not be at the time that she could not have time off. She was a single mom and she said, you know what? I can't, how do I build my business because I'm a single mom, I'm an entrepreneur, it's all on me. Do you know, in that year, we started working together in January. In that year, in the summer, she took one whole month off from her business and went away with her children. She said to me this year, she goes, she did it the next year as well. And she said, I think I want to do 2 months. You see, she had to entertain that there's the possibility that she could do that. Then we could find the way. Alethi, and I, again, forgive me, please, if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly. The standard that you can keep yourself to when if there's health issues is still keeping your word to yourself. And let's say you say something to somebody and you can't keep your word because of a health thing, then you go and you clean it up immediately. You tell them immediately that you can't. But then ask yourself to as well, like, who do I need to be to hold myself to standards to create a business and life that I love in spite of health conditions? In spite of my health, who do I need to be? Who do I need to be in spite of my health to create a life and business I love? Okay, I want to get to the last point. First of all, a temperature check. Look, I should have just I don't know why Gabby saw me before. She could have said, Hina, you could like just use a little bit of powder or something. I'm so shiny. But anyways, a temperature a temperature check. How are we doing? Are we enjoying this? Are you still with me? Is there anybody still here? It doesn't really matter to me. I have so much fun. Okay. Oh, I crack myself up. No powder needed. Thank you, Gabby. Okay. So to create a business and life you love, you have to decide that you are worthy of it, that it is available to you. It is not by some luck. Luck is not a strategy. Ah, Maria, thank you. Luck is not a strategy. So you decide that and you get crystal clear on what you want. So think about it. Alethea, yay! Woohoo! Loving it. Love it in the chat. Yes. Decide what you want, and then it's kind of like you're putting it into your GPS. Now, imagine going even to the airport and you're going and you're like, I don't know where I want to go. So then you would just be standing there like, what are you going? Like, you wouldn't even know. Are you traveling to the Caribbean? Do you need to go to US Customs? Where are you going? You need to know where you're going. And I want you to dream big. Like, honestly, I don't know. Life is too short. We don't know how long we have. You might as well go for it. What do you got to lose? The time's going to pass by anyways. And at least you can say, I gave it all I got. I gave it all I got. You'll learn something along the way as well. So you decide what you want, you get super, super clear. Second thing you ask yourself is, who do I need to be? What are the thoughts? What are the beliefs that the person with my goal would have? And then the third thing you would do is from that is think, what are my next steps? You don't have to know the whole way. You shouldn't know the whole way. When you plug in what you plug into your GPS in the car, it gives you the route, it gives you your next step when you start moving. Just start moving. Just start moving. Just one foot in front of the other. Make that call. Make that call. Send that email. Put the request in. Start moving. And then from that, you'll get information. That information is going to tell you your next step. Now, we have been given an internal guidance system. Do you know what that is? That is your feelings. And when you start to feel off, this is intuition, this is using our internal guidance system. That is your GPS telling you, oh, you've made a wrong turn. We're going further away from the goal. Come back. And you just start with the path of least resistance. You don't have to do everything all at once. The journey is the manifestation because it is about who you become. The getting is fun. And can I tell you what's even more fun? After you've given to yourself and you get the giving. The giving to others, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like writing, you know, donations to charities that you love. There's nothing like treating your team to things, your family to things. If that's the greatest. That's when it's just so much fun. But first you must give to yourself and then you are in overflow. You're also showing others what is possible for them and giving them permission to go for what they want and not feel bad about it. And I got to tell you what I love, love, love that when you're doing this and you're taking action, and it's imperfect action. Like I've done some things um, that haven't worked, but I learned from them and I could course correct. One of my favorite things that was said to me was when you caught my attention. Like I wanted to work with you when I thought, who's the brown girl on a private jet? That made my day. And I'll tell you why, because we don't see that often. We don't see that often. But I want to see more and more of that. Whatever that is for you, that you're living your amazing, incredible life, that you've got a business that is consistently bringing you in revenue for bringing revenue in that allows you to feel that freedom that you want to feel so that you can do whatever you want when you want to do it. And I'm just here to say that it's possible for you. And one of the things that made a huge difference for me that I shared with you was my morning routine. My morning routine really took me from 6 to 7 figures because I started my day in a peak state. I started my day focused on my goal and then filtered everything, every decision through that. I wasn't at everyone else's beck and call. And because of that, my activities were always revenue generating activities. And because of that, I very quickly went from 6 to 7 figures. And because I asked myself who I needed to be, I was already mentally, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically in 7 figures. That when I actually hit 7 figures, it wasn't a big deal because it was very natural to me. Just like now, 8 figures is very natural to me. And that really stemmed from that standard that I held for myself and doing that morning routine. And if it's something that you would like to learn about, I'm happy to give you an opportunity to learn more about creating a morning routine. So just let me know with a emoji or a yes in the chat, and then I'm happy to share more about my morning routine. My morning routine, which I actually learned from my mentors, my morning routine, which actually um, I learned from also consuming content and seeing what is it that successful people do, and they control their mornings so they can control their day. So let me know if you want to hear about this one action piece that will lead to a life and business that you love. And I really even shouldn't say life and business. It was my title, but it's a life. Like sometimes people will say to me like, "Oh, what is your work life balance?" There is no work life balance. It's all play. This is play for me. This is creative. This is play. It's all play. It's all just incredible, juicy, delicious. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, great. So I love the timing of things because you can't get it wrong, divine timing. Tomorrow, and for the next 3 days, so for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you are invited to my client calls. Everybody on here is invited to my client calls, my morning calls. They are at 6 a.m. Eastern. If that is too early for you, don't worry, we got you. We also have a watch party at 9 a.m. But here's the thing, cameras are off. You could fall asleep. I don't care. It's even better. Your subconscious is open. So you come on the call, and this might, for you, coming on for 3 days, you may be able to create your own morning routine from it. You may get some ideas on things you want to do. You might switch it up a bit. So it can just be a way to kickstart it. So Gabby, I'm wondering, I don't know if we're allowed to put the link in here or it will go in an email, but I want to let you know that you're going to notice, you're going to click, okay, perfect. So click on this link, it will open up in another tab. And what you'll notice is that there is a investment of $33 US. That investment is not for me. It's not for me. That investment is for you. What we pay for, we pay attention to. That investment is because you're worth investing even a small amount to take yourself seriously. That is about the standard. And that's why we have a small investment. Now, what happens if you invest, you sign up, and your alarm doesn't go off, or you hit snooze a few too many times? No problem. You can watch it at 9 a.m. and then later in the morning, in the late morning, you will get the recording. Some people like to even listen to it twice in the morning and then they'll listen to the recording in the evening before bed. And it is the best time because your subconscious is open and your subconscious doesn't sleep. So when you're sleeping physically, your subconscious is working on your goal. How is that? And this is all about creating a life that you love, creating a life that feels like play, where you are just excited to get up in the morning. I love setting my alarm. I love it. Mondays, you know, God, it's like I love Mondays. Give me all the Mondays I can get. It's like we live in a world that's living for the weekend. For what? Because you don't have like there's Monday, oh Monday, Sunday, you're stressed about Monday, and then Wednesday is hump day, just a few more days, and then Friday, oh thank God it's Friday. That's not a life. It's not a way to get through life. Just hoping for that one day, that Friday night. You can sort of enjoy Saturday, but Sunday's kind of a write off because you're not looking forward to Monday. So, if joining us tomorrow is something that you desire to do, just to see how much you can radically shift your life, go from 6 to 7 figures if that's your desire, or 5 to 6 figures. Simply by changing something in the morning? Would it be worth it to you to dedicate 1 hour to you, to yourself, if it could change things? I want to thank you for having me on. Dwania, it's, such a pleasure to be able to speak to your community. And I'm happy to answer any questions. I know we have a few minutes left. If anybody has any questions about the Morning Study Club, about anything that I talked about, I'd be happy to answer them. And it is great for accountability. Dwania!
Hey. Oh, I was back here like cheering and everything. There's so many things that I know we can all apply to our daily lives. This was really, really good and
Thank you.
eye-opening. Like, it allows you to check yourself.
Yeah, it does. And Alethea says, I'm energized now. And that is how people feel. Like what you see now is, well, you don't see anything because the cameras are off, but on our morning calls, but it's this energy. And so people get so much done because you're in a peak state and you're thinking clearly now. Like you haven't just opened up your phone and reacting to everything. And it's these little things, Dwania, that create a compound effect. It's not the big things. We live in a world of when then. Well, when this happens, then I'll do that. When I do this, then I'll have a morning routine. I will be that person when this happens. But it's the other way around. We be that person now, and we have it now. And it collapses time, and it does not have to take as long as people think things need to take as well. So absolutely. So you can get a lot done in a short amount of time when you know what you want.
Yeah. I see Cindy here said she's going to go find some blank paper. She's going to start writing.
Yeah, write your 50 want list, Cindy. Write it, share it with me. Please, send me a message. I'd love to see what you wrote. And for sure, if you're coming on the call tomorrow, definitely bring paper.
I see Alethi has a question. Alethi or Aleth, we apologize. How to choose a mentor?
So that's a great question. The way I choose a mentor, and I usually work with one mentor for a long period of time. And the way that I choose a mentor is I choose a mentor for my next level. I don't choose a mentor for where I am now because I know how to do what I'm doing now. I choose a mentor that is a reflection of the mentor that I would have at my next level, which is why it has always been scary for me to pay my mentors, because the price is also, the investment has also been a next level investment because it's my next level self. But that is how I've chosen a mentor, is for my next level. And I've chosen somebody that has the results that I want to have, that is living the life that I desire to live, that has already done it.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Oh my. So everyone, I will follow up with all of you with this link so that you can be a part of the Morning Study Club starting tomorrow. And I know Gabby has put the link in the chat. Thank you, Gabby. Working from her bed, but working well. And thank you so much, Hina. Again, a lot to think about. You give me a lot to think about. And I'm sure everyone feels the same way. We really do appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
So everyone, I'll talk to you soon, and you'll get the details for next month's webinar shortly. Have a wonderful evening.